Hello and welcome back. This is Beautiful Ashes, and I am your host, Tom. And I'd like to welcome you to yet another episode. For today, I want to talk about something that I found really profound and interesting that God opened my eyes to. And I think it's really useful for you guys moving forward, especially kind of dealing kind of the issues of around personal development and becoming a better version of you so that you can actually achieve everything that you hope to become. And so I just came from the bathroom. I was just brushing my teeth and I met my sister. She was in the living room and, just doing her homework, and she seemed to be under a lot of pressure. And I asked her what's going on, and she told me that, she's got like, I don't know, like 8 or 12 different assignments she needs to get done by tomorrow around 8 a.m. And the reason why she had put so much pressure on herself is because she had told my dad that by that time she's going to be done with the homework by 8 a.m. And so she's put herself under a lot of pressure to actually complete her homework by that time. Now, this is not new for most of you guys. I'm sure most of you guys have been to high school and, been to school and have had assignments. So the issue is not really about the assignment. The issue was here is what she was doing. And it's kind of the topic we want to talk about today, whereby reinforcing cycles of pain in your life and kind of how to actually detach from them and actually break them. Now, I talked to her and found out that the reason why she did this, she kind of set a huge goal for herself, whereby deep down, if she was to be honest with herself, she knew she wasn't going to complete it at that time. And yet, even in that situation, she knew that she was not going to complete it at that time, and she would feel bad about herself being unable to complete it at that time. And so she was going to beat herself about it. She was going to beat herself up about not being able to complete that homework in time, as she had said. And then to make matters worse, to kind of reinforce this kind of cycle of pain, she went and told dad, who was also going who's out of his character, and out of full respect, and I love the guy. So out of his character, he's one of those strict dads, really strict, and was very strict. And so she went and told him about this plan of hers. And the thing is, when she told him about it, she knew deep down his reaction to her being unable to complete the homework on time. And so he would be strict about it with her, and she's going to feel bad about it. And so what I came to realize, what God opened my eyes to, is that some of us will go through these cycles of pain, whereby using her as an example, whereby you set a target or you set a deadline of something you're going to do that is so humongous and so overwhelming, and very well deep down, if you actually look at it, if you actually sat down with yourself and actually question yourself, you know that you're not going to be able to hit that target. And then, but you actually do it. And then when that day arrives, when the day of you are supposed to perform, when the day you're supposed to actually finish it, you feel you don't actually make it. And so it's kind of predicting or programming failure into your future. And so when that day arrives, what happens is you fail because you set a target to fail. And then when you fail, you feel bad about it. And then you beat yourself up about it. And some of us go even a step further to actually include other people in that place, so they can kind of cheer, or they can actually just join together and actually make you feel even more bad about it. And so I was opening her eyes, and so God was helping me open her eyes to this situation whereby most of us tend to do these things. And so you find that even to this episode, some of the reasons why most of you haven't actually started doing your own episodes, your own channels or whatnot, is because you find yourself, I don't know, maybe not for everybody, but for some of you, you might find yourself actually setting targets that you know that if you sat down with yourself, you're not actually going to meet. Like, I remember earlier on this channel, I talked about reading 100 books in a year. And to be honest, I am nowhere near that. And I think probably I've done maybe 2 or 3 books, and I'm not even finished them. And so it's kind of also some of the same thing that I was actually dealing with, whereby you set yourself such a huge target that you're not going to, you know deep down, if you actually were going to sit with yourself and actually evaluate the possibility of whether or not you're going to finish this target, or actually going to hit the target, is deep down you're not going to be able to do it. And so you set such a huge goal, knowing very well deep down subconsciously that you're not going to be able to hit that target. And so when the day that you're supposed to actually do it, and so maybe for the 100 books a year, when at the end of the year, when you haven't read about it, you feel bad about yourself. And then you kind of tell yourself all these things. You tell yourself, okay, you're a failure, you're a disappointment, you can't do this, you can't stick to anything you can do. You can't say, you can't keep your word. It actually kind of helps to beat you down further, making you feel even a lot worse about it. And most of us go even a step further, whereby we tell other people who we know deep down they're not going to encourage you. They're not going to motivate you. They're not going to say anything nice specifically, but they're going to actually kind of help beat you even down further. And so we find ourselves in situations whereby we have circles of people in our life whereby who the kind of value that they add into our lives is kind of shaming, embarrassing, and putting us down. And so we encourage those people in our circles that way. When we fail to meet our own expectations, and then they actually come and talk down on us and actually, continue to smear poop on our faces because of our failure to do it. It kind of reinforces that belief in ourselves whereby that we are not good enough, that we cannot actually accomplish anything that we set out to do. And then actually that kind of leaves us stuck in that place whereby we can't actually grow. And so one of the first things that you notice is for you to start breaking some of these cycles is, first of all, you need to remove yourself from this kind of companies or friends. And then you also need to don't be too hard on yourself. You need to be encouraging yourself, because here's the thing about human nature. It doesn't work always the first time. For instance, if you've never been reading a book, if you're not an avid reader, if you're not like a person who actually reads each and every single day, you may not be able to actually start reading 100 books a year right off the bat. However, you can be able to do one a month for the next 12 months. You actually be done 12, and then the next day you challenge yourself to actually do more. And so the thing about human behavior is it doesn't change abruptly. We're not like a television whereby you can actually use a remote and turn it on or off. There's actually a process, a boot up process, like some of those old computers whereby when you start it and actually have a boot up process. And so it takes time for us to actually change and adjust our behaviors to actually match the kind of life or the kind of dream that we want to achieve. And so by stopping or realizing, one of the first things that you need to do to actually break out of this cycle is actually being able to realize and recognize these patterns. And now when I was talking to her about it, she felt bad about herself, and she wondered, like, she was almost tearing up, and I had to kind of comfort her and tell her, the reason why I'm telling you this is not because you can feel bad about yourself. It's because one of the way the devil works is by hiding himself in a situation. And so you can have a situation which keeps coming again and again and again, but you don't even see it yourself. And so you keep going around in these circles, it's like as if you're going in a maze, okay? Assume yourself, you're like, I don't know how many of you guys have read the book Who Moved My Cheese. I'm going to use that as an example. So assume you're like a little rat or a little mouse, and you're stuck in a maze, this maze. But here's the thing. At your level, maybe the maze, you can think about the walls of the maze that are about maybe 100 meters tall, or even 1,000 meters or a kilometer tall. So you can't actually see the maze, that you're actually in a maze, but you are inside. And so what happens is the devil likes to keep you in that maze whereby you keep going again and again and again. You're not actually going anywhere. But until you can actually change your perception, actually go way above and actually see the maze, that's where you can actually come out of it. And so what happens is you find yourself in these situations, repeating these cycles of pain again and again, and keeping yourself stuck in the same level again and again. And that is because you don't even know what the situation is. And once you've been able to identify the problem that you're in, then you can actually begin to break out of it. And so one of the first steps to being able to kind of becoming unstuck and actually getting out of these cycles of pain, or these cycles that you program into your life, is actually being able to identify some of these cycles. So I challenge you today to actually just look at your behavior, what you've been doing. Now, what is it that you're doing that is actually keeping you in those cycles of repetition, or making you going round and round and round in circles? Okay, so that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. I've got a lot of things. I know for the past few days, we haven't actually been doing anything about marketing or business or whatever, but I'm just sharing as I'm motivated by God and as I'm learning. And so I hope this guys can actually help. It also helps you guys be able to actually become better versions of you, and actually live up to the expectations that you've set upon yourself. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to leave your comments in the comment section below, and be sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button. That's it. Okay, bye.